So we're going to work on just the adding the integers for chapter 3, lesson 2. And we're going to start with the vocabulary. Integers like 2 and -2. Remember, integers they have to be whole numbers. They're negative and positive whole numbers. Are called opposites because they are the same distance from 0, but on opposite sides. Complete the graphic organizer about opposites. We need to picture it first. This is just a line graph. They have the number 3 plotted on the line graph. What's the opposite of 3? What is it?
-3.
-3. So let's plot the -3. The real world example. Okay, I don't want anything to do with math. Something that are opposites.
Getting $3 and spending $3.
Okay, yeah, good. You kept it in the math family. I want something not even related to math. But good job.
An apple and a piece of corn.
No, those are two different items. One's a vegetable, one's a fruit. But no, here, you guys are thinking way too hard. Let's see if I get one more person. Kind of.
An apple and an orange.
Okay, well, yeah. Boys versus girls. Okay, there.
Obviously, we already know.
But an opposite would be left and right. Up and
Down.
Oh,
Side to
and
side.
back.
Just build it.
Okay, so let's just write our.
They just called Tanner down to the office.
Let's write.
Twice.
Go ahead. Let's write our real world example of
Cause
up
you're happy.
and down, hot and cold. Now we're going to go back to Katie, and we're going to use her example, because that's our math example. So can you tell me your example again, please?
Getting $3 and spending $3.
So instead of saying getting, we're going to use the word earning. How much money did you want?
$3.
$3. And then spending. Now if I spend the money, it wouldn't be a +3, it would be a -3. So then when we talk about our notes, it says two integers that are opposite are also called additive inverses. Okay, let's break down that word. First of all, I'm going to use what I know. Additive. I'm in math class. What base word is in additive? Anybody? Add. Okay?
Add.
Now I'm also going to use some background knowledge and I'm going to think what an inverse is.
Oh,
Good. If you think you know, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay?
Backwards,
You're close.
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah? Golden?
The opposite.
It's opposite. Like,
Okay, well,
because I can see you doing this, like, okay, if I'm going here, I'm going here. Like, instead of going forward, you're going to go backwards.
like instead of
So an
3, 4,
inverse is kind of like the opposite. So basically, all an additive inverse is adding opposites. That's it. The additive inverse property. Underline that. States that the sum of any number and its additive inverse is 0. Circle 0. You can show 2 plus a -2 on a number line. When you show things on a number line, you always start at 0 and go to your first number, which was a +2, and I stop. Then wherever you stop is where you pick up again and do whatever directions I need to do here, and that's a -2. Any negative number, you move left. So I'm going to go left 2. So 2 plus a -2 is what?
0.
0. Put 0 in your box. Our real world link says the temperature outside is a -5. name the temperature that would make the sum of the two temperatures 0. So if I have a -5, what do I need to add to that to get to 0? Answer.
5.
Excellent. You have to get to 5 because that would be the additive inverse.
Good job.
Go ahead and turn the page to the next page. When we add integers with the same sign, that's when we took our notes and we're looking at this top box. What does it say in the circle, in the first circle?
Add.
No, what's the first thing?
Add.
You wrote one word. Add.
A.
And then what's the next
Keep.
circle say? Keep. So if they are the same sign, you add and then keep the sign of the bigger number. Let's read their definition. To add integers with the same sign, add their absolute values. The sum is positive if both integers are positive, negative if both integers are negative. Underline the word both.
Both times? You want this to underline?
So we're talking about the same sign. All you do is add. So we've done 7 plus 4 equals 11 since first grade. Those don't mess us up. If I just think they're both negatives, just add. 7 plus 4 is 11, but it's going to stay negative. In the next example, they're also going to show you a number line. Some of you may be able to add integers without a number line, but you're also going to need to know how to read the number line. Number lines can be vertical, which means up and down, or they can be horizontal, which is like taped on your desk. If it's vertical, when you go up, it's positive from the 0. When you start at the 0 and go down, they're negative.
Like a thermometer.
On horizontal, to the right is what? Positive. To the left is
Negative.
Okay, so it's the same principle. Tomorrow we're going to work with horizontal number lines. We need to find a -3 plus a -2. Always start at 0. Here's our 0 here. Okay? You start at 0 and you go down to the -3. Where you stopped is where you pick up. And it's adding another negative. So negative, you keep going down 2 more. 1, 2, and that's where I stopped, and that's going to be my answer. So a -3 plus a -2 is -5. If I look at number 2 where it says find -26 plus a -17. I was able to easily do this one in my head. When you're getting into double digits, should you do it in your head?
No.
No. Write it up and down. Write 26 plus 17. I want to see the work. I know that's 13, carry the 1, so now I got 43. But then they're negative, so then I'm going to keep my negative sign. Show the work when you're adding larger numbers. So this is adding integers with the same, what? Same sign. So they're either both positive or both negative. So here we've got some problems here that we can try. I want you to take a few seconds and try A, B, and C. Do A, B, and C.
You know where this is gonna happen. I had it pull up the one on one.
When you're done, you just put your pencil down. Both are negative, so what do I just do?
Just add them and put them in.
Add. So 5 plus 7 is?
13.
What's 5 plus 7?
12.
Okay, yeah, it's 12. If you guys don't know this, I have 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, just to double check.
My bad.
Then you keep the negative sign. Both are
Negative.
negative. 10 plus 4 is, and it's negative. We have double digits. So you might want to write it up and down so you don't make a mistake. Because sometimes we make a mistake. But I know how to do this in my head. It's 30. But then you keep the negative sign. So that's when it's the same sign. That's pretty easy peasy. We're just adding and then keeping a sign. But now we have different signs. Let's take a look at our notes again. Everybody take a look at your notes. When I look at my notes, I have something in a circle.
Subtract.
What does it say to do?
Subtract.
Subtract. And then it says to
The greatest absolute value.
keep the sign, right? You keep the sign of the bigger one. So you subtract and then keep the sign of the bigger number. Did you guys write keep in there really big? That should have been that first word. Okay? Or use the highest value. So it's subtract, and then you use the sign of the bigger number. So let's look at how they express it. It says, to add integers with different signs, subtract their absolute values. The sum is positive if the positive integer's absolute value is greater. It's negative if the negative integer absolute value is greater. Isn't it easier just to say subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number?
Yeah.
Okay, but we're still talking absolute value. It's still teaching us the same concept. Looking at the top of the next page, says when you add integers with different signs, start at 0. You're always starting at 0.
Yes.
Move right for positive numbers, or integers, excuse me. Move left for negative integers. So the sum of P plus Q is located a distance of the absolute value of Q from P. That just sounds so overwhelming right now, but it's easier when we just come and look at an example. 5 plus a negative 3. You start at 0. Go up to this number that we start with. So I go up to 5. That's where my next point is. I'm adding.
Negative 3.
If it's negative, I now need to go
Left.
left, backwards. 1, 2, 3. That's my stopping point, so that is my answer. 5 plus a negative 3 equals 2. Negative 3 plus 2. Start at 0. Go back to my negative 3. That's my next starting point, and I'm adding a positive. So when I go positive, do I go right or left?
Left from right.
Right. 1, 2, and that's my stopping point. So negative 1 is my answer. If I think about it without the number line, they're different. One's positive, one's negative. So I just subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. Keep the sign of the bigger number. Well, that's 5, so it needs to be a positive 2. 3 minus 2 is
1.
1. So the 3 is the bigger number, so I'm going to have it to be a
Negative 1.
negative 1. So if the signs are different, you subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So why don't you guys take a couple seconds and do D and E. Do D and E. You're done, just put your pencil down. We don't just add them together and keep a negative 7, do we?
No.
No, if one's positive, one's negative, you subtract. So 7 minus 6 is
-1.
1, and then I keep the negative sign. One's negative, one's positive. So you subtract. 19 minus 15 is
4.
4. Keep the sign of the greater number. These are the same types of examples. The only difference is they've got some negatives and some parentheses. But look at this one. I have 7 plus a -7. That's 0, right? What property is this? Something we just learned.
Symmetric.
These numbers are opposite.
Yep.
So it's the additive
I'm
inverse.
so sorry for the interruption. I made a mistake this
Write
morning
this
when I
down.
said that the 8th grade girls volleyball were gonna play at the high school. I was wrong. It won't be the last time I'm wrong, but, they are playing at the middle school. So I think the 7th grade team is playing first, and then the 8th grade team will play following the 7th grade game. So, the 7th grade 8 game and the 8th grade A game here at the middle school. There is no games at the high school tonight. Everybody have a great night. Good luck, ladies, and good luck to our cross-country runners.
Same with the next example. I have a -8 and a +3. One's negative, one's positive, so you subtract. 8 minus 3 is, what's 8 minus 3?
5.
What's 8 minus 3?
-5.
Just 5, then you
have
take
the negative.
the sign of the negative.
I thought it was wrong.
Now with number 7, we're getting into adding more than 1 or more than 2. So now we're adding 3, okay? I want you to write down what I'm going to write down over here, okay? I want you to write down 2 plus, and I know they gave you an example here, plus a -15 plus a -2. When adding, I can just add left to right. So this is how I'm going to show you. I have a +2 and a -15. I have a positive and a negative. So if I have a positive and a negative, I subtract. 15 minus 2 is 13. Keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's a -13. Then bring down my plus, -2. They're both negative, so you add. 13 plus 2 is 15, and then you keep the sign, which is negative. But be careful, another way that you can do that is to make sure that, if I look at my original problem, I have a +2 and a -2. Some of you guys like to think of it as they cancel each other out. They're called additive inverses, so I'm going to circle them and put a line through them. What do I have left? -15, that's the same answer. So you can either go left to right or start looking for additive inverses. Okay? Go ahead and try F, G, and H. Like how hard you guys are working. All right, let's go to F. They are the same sign or different signs?
Different signs.
Different, so we are going to subtract. 12 minus 10 is
2.
2.
Negative.
Keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's -2. -13 and a +18. They have different signs, so we are going to
Subtract.
So 18 minus 13 is
5.
keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's going to stay positive. H. I've got a -6 and a +6. Additive inverses. answer is negative 14. Let's say I forgot to look for negative, or for additive inverses. And I just did 14, negative 14 and a negative 6. That would be a negative 20 plus 6. Now I have a negative and a positive, so that means I'm going to subtract. So it'd be 14, but it's a negative 14. There's nothing wrong with either way that you are doing this problem. Turn the page. Our last example is a story problem. And it's about a roller coaster. A roller coaster starts at point A, goes up 20 feet, down 32 feet, and then up 16 feet to point B. Write in addition sentences to find the height at point B in relation to point A, then find the sum and explain its meaning. I know they give you an example here, but we're gonna come over here and I'm gonna show it to you in a couple different ways. First, I read that pretty fast, right? I read it like a reader, like a 7th grade reader. Now I'm gonna go back and read it like a mathematician and get my clue words and circle those. A roller coaster starts at point A. It goes up, circle the clue words. 20 feet, it goes down 32 feet, and then up 16 feet. Just as an example, if I was to do that on, you make a graph, make a number line, show a picture of it. I start at 0, because everything's gonna start at 0 on that roller coaster. And if I go up, and I'm gonna do a horizontal number line.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the right 20. Then I'm gonna start at that 20, and I go down 32, so then I'm gonna go backwards 32 and end at some point here.
Oh, 16.
And I'm gonna start at this point here and go up 16 spaces. You guys need to be writing this little diagram out, because you need to get used to going forward, backwards, or however long it tells you. So now to write it, it starts at, it goes up 20 feet, so I'd write 20, down 32, so I write minus, or a plus, the negative 32, and you have to have that parentheses. You don't want to put a plus minus together like that. Then it goes up another 16 feet. Which two numbers do you think I should combine first?
20 and 16.
20 and 16, because they're both positive. And 20 plus 16 is?
36.
So now I have 36 plus a negative 32. So I have line 1, line 2, and then my answer would be
4.
and it stays positive because 36 is positive. Make sure you're writing it all out. You can stop that, Katie.